This is the Margins to Centre Conference, a conference set up by two University of York students, Olivia White and Claire Burgess, to discuss the lack of diverse representation in the university history syllabus and in national historic research, giving a platform to guest speakers from across the UK.
What begin as margins can de-centre the centre. So what start as margins can unpick and undermine the ways in which the centre has been constituted.
I've come from Leeds today because I am really excited about these young historians who are bringing a new edge to history, bringing new insights into how history can be looked at.
Of the personal politics of one early 20th century transgender woman, Irene Klein.
That is my topic today, which is the Beaterio de las Emparadas de la Purísima Concepción. A beaterio is a community or house of women living under informal religious vows.
Historians may be able to represent marginalised history, but cannot represent marginalised people.
I think today, to see all these young people who are doing historical work themselves, trying to understand through exploring whether it's queer histories or histories of black people or histories of activism of different kinds, they're trying to work out what the history is that they want to understand and how that can contribute to living in the present.
I went into this research thinking there would be tons of literature about this beaterio. What I found instead was a place that was barely mentioned in footnotes or in passing, and whose story had never been written down fully.
Perhaps the simplest way to avoid speaking for marginalised people is to elevate marginalised voices, both as the subjects and the authors of history. James Ward has suggested that authenticity is possible if sufficient academic research is applied to the task.
For me, what was great was the conversations we were able to have. We had deliberately left a lot of time for discussion after each panel, and the conversations were thoughtful, they were informed, they were passionate. And that really filled me with hope, because it felt like we were building a community, something that could last beyond the day itself.
I mean, it's just interesting to remember that the student uprising in Birmingham, which is where I was in the history department in 1968, actually started around discussions of what was wrong with the history syllabus. Needless to say, there were no women, there was no gender, there was no race. I mean, don't even begin to think about those issues. And of course, there were many other students saying what was wrong with their syllabuses. And that led to change. And that just reminds me to remind you that if there are issues that are not being taught in your departments that you think are important, say so. Ask for them.
I was really impressed with how wide-reaching the conference was. We had guests from the University of Highlands in the Islands, Swansea University, all the way down to the University of Portsmouth. And that was really important for me, because quite often you will have conferences on national research, which are often based in London and usually only attract guests from England. I think the location of the conference and the fact that we reached out to nearly every university in the United Kingdom really paid off in the end, and I encourage all conference organisers to do this.
Generations of young people making history relevant to them and their society, and I think that really bodes well for the future. It fills me with hope.
Write new stories, make them central, not marginal. Thank you.